What is going on, everybody? It is Jackson and Steven from Dinger Dudes. The twins are not on right now, but will be joining a little bit later. But today we are joined by a returning guest, former MLB pitcher, also former Atlanta Brave. I know everybody on the podcast and everybody who views that knows this guy very well, Mr. Dan Winkler. Dan, how's your day going? And thank you so much for taking time to join.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It was fun the first time. I had to come back again. So day's good. Three kids, so always
Hmm.
chasing them around church this morning. So yeah, enjoying a lazy Sunday afternoon.
I would say I know how that feels. I don't have any kids myself, but I have much younger siblings and younger cousins who are staying with me. So, I don't
Yeah,
know the feeling, but I know the relative feeling. But Steven, how's your day going, man? I forgot to ask you too.
Man, like the day so far has gone great. This week has been, you know how it's been, man. The Braves are just not playing that great. So on that front, not the greatest. But I've just started a new job, so I'm happy about that. I'm literally about to move out here. I'm about to move into an apartment. So there's just a lot going on in my life. I'm blessed. I'm very happy, and I'm also just blessed to be on a great podcast with Mr. Dan Winkler and Mr. Jackson. So I'm ready to get into these hot takes.
I'm excited too, but staying on the topic of Braves baseball, which we discussed about earlier, this one was sent in by a good friend of ours, John Joyner. As much as he hates to say this, the Braves will have a new manager by the end of the season. I want to start off with Mr. Dan Winkler, former Atlanta Brave himself. What are your thoughts on this hot take?
uh, I can't go against Snit,
Mhm.
guy that's pretty special to me.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know. I think if it would be mutual if there was a change. I
Mhm.
think Snit would kind of just say, "No, I'm ready to do something else," and Alex may, kind of agree. But I don't know. I think Snit still is a good leader. He's a really good guy in the clubhouse. Um, but who knows? I think they've had some bad luck the last few years.
Yeah. Stephen, from the fans' perspective.
Okay, so as far as the backlash that Brian Snicker is getting. Here's the one thing about it. Like, has there been like games to where like when it comes down to managerial decisions about like just some things that I don't agree with? Absolutely. But that's why I'm a fan and that's why they're in the positions that they are. But then it's also like these last few games and like the last stretch that the Braves have been on, I don't understand how people are just putting all the blame on Snit. You got to put some like the blame also comes on the players as well. Like it is just to a point to where like the bullpen has been absolutely atrocious. It's been nothing short of rough these past few games. You know, when you have a 6 run lead in the ninth, what else can a Snicker do? You know, what's the whole thing is like. I'm going into this bullpen name by name. There's not a guy right now that you're very confident in shutting the ball game down. You know, Raisel Iglesias in the last half of last year was like the best reliever in the National League. But this year he just hasn't been able to find it. And that's the whole thing is baseball's a crazy sport like that. You're gonna get players that just are going through rough stretches and then, the next week they find something and they get hot again. We're going through hot and cold streaks. So no, I don't think that this year's I completely agree with Dan that it's going to be a mutual thing if it ever happens. Snickers earned earned his place in the clubhouse, earned some leniency when it comes to the decisions that he makes. But do I think that I will say that do I think that this is his last year? I do. I do. I truly believe that if it's not this year, that during the off season, I do believe that he either going to retire or they're going to just mutually just decide to part ways with each other.
There's one question I do want to propose. So, we saw Craig Kimbrell was recently brought up by the Atlanta Braves, but after one singular outing, a successful pickoff move, only giving up one hit and a strikeout and a walk in his recent appearance, he was DFA'd. I kind of want to know your opinions on that because I'm not a Braves fan, but it just kind of seemed off to me.
Oh, you're talking about the Kimbrel,
Yeah, the
Kimbrel
Kimbrell
calling out, getting called
situation.
up. That made no sense. Like I don't understand. I understand that like the control issues obviously were there. Had trouble throwing strikes. I think there was like a report that came out that like they were just like, well, he kind of got lucky in that inning. It was a caught stealing at second base, and then he was able to pick off somebody at first, and then he got the strikeout to have a clean inning. My whole thing is like I don't understand them calling him up for that one appearance, and then based off of that one appearance, which I thought, like, yeah, the velocity wasn't there. He was topping out at 92, but at the end of the day, like, I thought it was good enough to where it's just like, okay, well, maybe give him a few more opportunities here and let's see what he has. But just after one appearance, and you signed him in free agency too. This was $2 million that was spent to bring him into the team, and just after one appearance, like it's DFA'd. I don't know. I don't understand that decision making.
Mr. Winkler?
Yeah, yeah. Let me. There's probably some context too. So I wonder if there's something called advanced consent, to where some of those like veteran guys, they will call them up with an advanced consent that they can send them back down. So they probably don't actually owe him the full $2 million.
Okay.
So they probably just owe him the 1 day of the big league pay. Um, it, it's kind of a not a great thing for veteran relievers like Craig should be given. Craig's a friend of mine, guy I played with Cubs and with the Braves when I was there. So I hated to see that. I was glad to see him get called up. I thought he was pitching well. I was surprised by the DFA too. I think from what I've followed along with the Braves, they could probably use that help. It's kind of been a revolving door in a sense. And if you're not going to play well, I think he's a name that maybe if he can get him to pitch well, you can trade him for, something at the deadline. So yeah, I was a little surprised, but there may have been something behind the scenes, like an agreement that nobody else has seen.
Now, Stephen, you said that the bullpen doesn't have any, like, sort of, I guess, stability or one specific pitcher that you can sort of rely on. There's one guy, I believe, who would be reliable if he was still playing, Mr. Dan Winkler himself. But staying on the topic of pitching, for this next hot take, it was sent in by Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. We talked about this last couple episodes. The Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays trade Yandy Diaz for a utility bat and a fourth or fifth starting pitcher at the deadline, which you previously brought up, Stephen or Mr. Winkler.
Okay, so you're saying that like that's going to end up happening is that they're going to trade Yandy Diaz for is that the hot take?
Yes, and can also be included with a package of Shane McClanahan as
I
well.
mean, I don't know if that's like I think I don't know because here's the thing. I think Tampa Bay is playing all right now. I haven't really checked their record just because I'll be honest, man, I had to take kind of a cleanse from baseball after what I've seen this past week. It's been rough,
Mhm.
but I kind of had to like, take a step back because, as a fan, I just needed to just like take a breath and like, handle some stuff. But I think Tampa Bay, that I could see it. I mean, I don't really have any more in depth analysis into the trade, but I think that I could see Yanni Diaz getting traded and like for a piece that Tampa Bay because I mean if it never hurts to help their farm system. I think their farm system could use a little bit more prospects and to get more people called up. So that's a name, and Yanni Diaz is playing really well this year. So I could see a trade piece happening there.
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't follow players as closely as I did when I was playing, but that's the Rays way, right? I think you kind of look at it as a stock market, like sell at their highest peak value and then buy at their lowest, and that's kind of the Rays way. So I could see them moving on if his value they feel like his value is at the highest and try to get something else.
Rays is because there's been a couple of players on my fantasy baseball team here at the Dinger Dudes. We take fantasy baseball like religiously, religiously. And I had two guys by the name of Pete Fairbanks and Jonathan Aranda, who has kind of taken over that first base spot in Tampa Bay, having a fantastic year. I believe he's going to be a first-time All-Star. So I can see the Rays trading Yandy Diaz right now. Their pitching is Zach Littell, Drew Rasmussen, Shane Baz, and they're still waiting on McClanahan to come back. I drafted McClanahan, but it's just a kind of recession from Tommy John surgery. So I can see it moving. I can see it happening. But sticking on the topic of the American League East, our last hot take was sent in from random baseball player 1.4, and heading out to Toronto. Bo Bichette is playing in the playoffs either in Toronto or somewhere else this year. Does he potentially get traded? This is a trade proposal or acquisition. Starting off with, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the episode, Mr. Andrew Jefferson.
Hey, welcome, guys. Oh, not welcome, but thank you for having me on. Sorry I was a little late. Danny, it's a pleasure having you on. Very happy and excited to be here. Yeah, unfortunately, I was running just a little bit later than I thought, but I'm glad that I was able to make it. But on the topic of Boba Fett, this is actually something that I spoke about on an episode either last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, because I do think that the market for Boba Fett is an open door, and I think there are a lot of teams, including the Atlanta Braves, who are in need of a more reliable shortstop. Because you take a look at Atlanta, I mean, the shortstop situation has been an interesting one ever since the move on from Dansby Swanson. Because Dansby is a guy, like, he's a clubhouse leader that I think is something that the Braves need desperately, even now. But of course, we're not going to pay Dansby Swanson 170 million. So I'm not blaming the Braves for not keeping him around. But then we got stuck with Arcia, which, I mean, yeah, you could say Orlando Arcia was a beast and that monster year after the World Series, but so was everybody. I mean, everybody was hitting the ball well that year, and then everybody has regressed, especially Arcia. And now we're stuck with Nick Allen, who's kind of the same situation. Great defensive player, but he can't hit. He's not a reliable hitter. And I think the Braves need to make a move on him, Jackson. So, and I think we do have the trade pieces. Farm system is not the best right now. Unfortunately, it's just kind of digressed over the last couple years. But I think we do have some value in our roster. I know Sean Murphy is a guy that we've been kind of looking to ship around recently. So maybe there's a trade that could be worked up there. But nonetheless, to answer your question, Jackson, I do think if it's not the Braves, Bo Bichette will be gone by All-Star break. And I think that I don't know about. I mean, I can't really answer if he's going to be in the postseason or not because I don't know which teams are going to be looking to get him. But I do like Bo Bichette, and I think the Braves, who are about to be 10 games under 500, need to make a move on him. But what
Steven
do you guys think?
or Mr. Winkler?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Mhm.
So probably going to be moved if the Blue Jays don't feel like they're going to make a run. I don't know if the Braves would be buyers. They may be buyers that may be free agent, like saving some money free agent wise to maybe sign him, maybe fill a gap there. But I don't know if that's the Braves' way to spend a lot of money on shortstop. And he's going to make a lot of money, I'm sure. So, maybe I don't know, Mets, Yankees, who knows? Probably one of those teams he'll probably be traded to. Maybe not in division, but who knows?
And that's what I'm worried about, Danny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Steven, but
You good?
I'm glad that you brought up the fact that free agents, because I don't think if the Braves were to get Bo Bichette, it's not going to be by spending money on him in free agency, because that's never been Alex Anthopoulos' mindset. Because I mean, you take a look at the what he did with the roster we have now. He signed everybody so young in their career, which can be a good thing, like max contracts. I mean, Austin Riley is the highest paid Braves player we have right now. It's not Acuna like people might think it is. But I mean, we had them locked up on these contracts, which I was actually talking to somebody about this today, which could be a good thing. Like if it works out like we thought it was going to after our World Series year, then yeah, you can see it's a good thing. But just look at it now and how it's turned out. Now you're kind of locked with these players for a while. I mean, and there's a lot of guys on our roster that if they keep playing the way they are right now, we're not going to re-sign them. But Alex, Double A's never been a guy to spend big money. I mean, that's the reason why we don't have James Swanson. And look what we did to Max Fried. I mean, obviously the Yankees gave Max Fried the bag, but we never even gave Max Fried the option. We never threw an offer his way. So it made it seem like that as good as Max Fried was, there was no clubhouse value on him. We'd even throw an offer out there. So if we're not willing to throw an offer to a guy of Max Fried's caliber, there's no shot we're gonna be spending big money in free agency. So I think if we were to get a guy like Bo Bichette, it's gonna have to
I
be
mean,
before the trade deadline.
that's my whole thing about like where I see, especially during the trade deadline this year, is that unless the Braves just have some magnificent turnaround to where like we're not going to be below like 10 games or whatever. Because right now, I'm totally down with us being sellers. I mean, Ozuna's in a
Yeah.
contract year, Raisel Iglesias is in a contract year. I feel like now's the time to where like unless and like I said, this team's capable of it. Like the offense can all of a sudden turn around today and we can go on a big win streak and we can get right back into the playoffs. But right now, you're 8 games out of the wild card.
Yep.
It to me, I do not see a value in going after, a Bo Bichette type or trying to go after, another starting pitcher to try and fill in the rotation or trying to go after some bullpen pieces. It to me, unless there's a magnificent turnaround in this first half, you got to be sellers. You
Yep.
got you,
Okay.
you got to sell off some pieces. I mean, that's just where we're at right now. You got to do it when you're done. You got to do it when you're at the point where you are right now, to where like you're as cold as you are as a team. You got to sell off pieces. That's just where this team is at right now.
Because imagine if we don't, Steven. Imagine if we don't. Like, imagine just if we last season, if we never had the thought of re-signing Max Fried, we could have sent him away then and gotten some good quality pieces, maybe bolster the farm system a little bit. But I'm with you, Steven. I don't want this to be a situation like the Angels did with Otani, where they didn't ship him off when they should have, and they got nothing in return for such a star caliber player. Because these are guys. Because there have been several guys around the Braves organization that we never shipped off. We just held on to their contract year, and they've gone on to do great things like that pitcher for the Mets. I was talking about today. He's left my mind. I'll have to figure it out. But regardless, I don't want it to be a situation because like you said, Stephen, we've got star guys on this roster who could flip the switch at any moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we let players like Azuna or later down the road Michael Harris walk away and not give him an option, and they get picked up by another team and they start hitting high 290s, 300s again. I mean, it could happen, but if we don't, like you said, Stephen, if we don't do it in the point where we are right now, then we're missing out on the opportunity of building or setting us up for the future if we don't get any pieces off of them instead of just letting them walk away, which is why I'm really pissed off about how the whole Max Fried situation ended. Because
I'm looking at this Bo Bichette situation. Do I think he leaves Toronto at the deadline? There's a couple teams I'm looking at that could potentially be buyers for him, like the Seattle Mariners. I think the only missing piece in that Seattle Mariners team is a shortstop position. They did call up Cole Young, one of their top prospects, has looked phenomenal since being brought up from AAA. And then I also got to look at in-division rival. As you all know, I'm a Cardinals fan. The Milwaukee Brewers don't really necessarily have a shortstop right now since, getting, I guess, rid of Adames over the past season. They have Joey Ortiz, but he's like a serviceable guy. I don't see him being like a long-term guy. And you have a younger guy like Bo Bichette, who I feel like would be a really pivotal piece in that Brewers middle infield. So,
congrats on sweeping the Dodgers, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I have to tip my cap to you guys.
You gotta, as he backs up with the Pujols shirt on. Ah, man, I miss Pujols. I'm reminiscing on the old Cardinals days. But hold on, the Cardinals. This is the most excited I've been about the Cardinals team in like the past 4 years.
They proved me wrong.
Lost to the Phillies in the playoffs, and then we lose to the Dodgers after a walk-off homer from Chris Taylor, who's now an Angel, by the way. This is the most excited I've seen about the Cardinals. But
wait a minute, did y'all complete the sweep yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they already did. They did.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not.
Am I reading this wrong? Aren't they playing right now?
Oh, is it a 4-game series? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it might be a 4-game series.
Might be a 4-game
series. Losing 3-0 right now.
Never mind. It is a 4-game series. Forget what I said. We're still winning the series. It doesn't matter, Steven. So,
that was my fault.
What are you talking about? It ain't a sweep yet.
But Chase, very quick before we move into Cy Young season snake drafts for each all time, what are your thoughts on Bo Bichette? Does he get traded out of Toronto or does he stay?
I don't really know. I think if the offer's right, then yes. But I think Toronto's going to be wanting a package that includes a lot of like future incentives. So I think they're going to be looking for a lot of farm system guys, which is why I'm a little iffy about this whole idea about the Braves trading for Bo Bichette because we don't have anything in the terms of farm system to give them. I know we have a couple of pitchers down there that might be okay, but batting wise, I think the Braves are very dry in the farm system. Nacho Alvarez is still a guy that we experimented with before, like only for like a quick 2-week stint. But I don't know if we're looking to experiment him again, but that could be a piece we might be looking to move. I know he can play shortstop as well. But Jackson, I do want to bring up the idea about him going to Seattle, I feel like you're throwing some shade on J.P. Crawford. He's actually having a really good season in Seattle right now, a 285 average. He's a very
Yeah.
consistent hitter, and I think he's been one of the brighter pieces for Seattle. So I don't know if him going to Seattle is really a good
I
move or
mean,
in terms of for Seattle, but I know what you're saying, though. I know what
JP
you're saying.
Crawford is a versatile guy. He plays third and short. So I
Right.
mean, if you're looking to move over a guy to
That's
third,
true.
because they don't really have a third base piece. They have Ben
Right.
Williamson
Hey,
as of right
That's
now.
unless
fair.
And they
That's
got,
fair.
unless
you
he's
know,
like, sorry, good.
What'd
so
you say,
real quick,
Steven?
I was just saying, like, they got a utility guy that's been playing for, pretty, off any time that they need that position. It's Dylan Moore, who I
Hmm.
think's been, a pretty good guy for them off of their bench. He's a great utility guy to have. So, I mean, they do have options when it comes to playing in that infield. But I mean, like I said, I'm sure Seattle's probably thinking like it wouldn't hurt to upgrade at shortstop.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to bring up Dylan Moore too. So
I
thank you,
also do
Steven.
want to. I do want to say I kind of just hopped in here. Danny Winkler, thank you for joining us on the show today. By the way, I'm sorry we came in a little late. We had some prior things we had to take care of, but I'm glad I'm here and I'm glad you're able to make the show. That is
Yeah,
very very honored to have you on the show today.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure. For sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right, are we going to get
Absolutely.
to this
But
snake your case?
yeah, but now it's time to get into our signature segment, our dream team draft. Not Snake Your Case, that's Triple Threat.
I
Yeah, I was
know,
Uh,
going to
triple
say.
throw, whatever.
so Miss
You said that on the phone. You
Yeah, I
said
know. So, Mr. Winkler, how this is going to go is you get to choose your position and we go in a snake draft. Today's topic, since you are a former major league pitcher, it's going to be Cy Young seasons, but not just of the 2000s or the 2010s, but of
All
all
time.
time. So, you get to choose what position, what
Hmm.
pick you get to choose, and then we're going to go in, I guess, youngest to oldest.
Oh, I gotta choose. This is a snake draft.
Oh,
Snake
yes.
So,
draft.
oh, I want one. Give me always one. I'm a big fantasy football guy, so yeah,
I
I'm here for this.
I don't know if the
So,
number one
with
pick is as obvious to you guys as it is to me,
All
but
right,
I don't
so it's
know.
gonna go Mr. Winkler, Stephen, Andrew Chase, than me.
Let's go.
okay.
I
All
have
right.
a I.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'll save my takes for later. You go
yeah.
ahead.
My number one. I don't think it's easy. You're right, but this award is named after him, so I'm gonna have to go Cy Young. Yeah, I mean he's number one,
It's
right?
fair.
It's named after. He's number one in wins and games, and he's number one in losses too. So it's got to go with him.
Stephen, any sort of Cy Young winning pitcher.
Any sort of Cy Young winning pitcher,
He
then
has
let's
the
go ahead and go to a guy that's won a good amount of Cy Young awards. And Red Sox legend. Let's go Pedro Martinez.
Oh,
I was gonna go Pedro Martinez too because I think the reason why I wanted Pedro is because I mean he had what finished like almost under a 2 ERA and had almost 330 strikeouts. But the most impressive thing to me about that is the fact that he was pitching at a time where there's like the offense was very inflated. I mean that was like the late 1990s, early 2000s. That was a tough time to be a pitcher, and he was just dominant. But you took
wait,
him from
sorry,
me.
Jackson. Jackson, I do have to clarify. Are we going just like straight pitchers or is like specific seasons?
Cy Young winners.
So
Cy,
just Cy Young
Cy,
winners. Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
But I'm going to stick around the same era, and I'm going to go Randy Johnson, 2001
Good.
Diamondbacks.
Good.
That was gonna be mine.
That was the obvious next pick. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that's
come on now. Come
yeah.
on now. Yeah,
If you ask
absolutely.
me, if you ask me though, I think the next obvious pick is Chicago Cubs and Atlanta Braves legend, the pitcher of the '90s, Greg Maddux, baby.
Hmm.
Legend, man.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'm looking at this, and you went an Atlanta Braves guy.
Had to.
It's between two guys. I'm looking at it right now. Give me Bob Gibson,
Oh,
St.
Mhm.
Louis
come
Cardinals
on.
legend. Give
That's
me
an older
Bob
guy.
Gibson, and
That's an
and
older
I
guy.
and I get my back-to-back picks. Give me. I really wanted Randy Johnson. You know what? Despite all the PED stuff, give me Roger Clemens.
Dang
I'm
it,
taking
Jackson!
Roger
Come
Clemens
on,
Hmm.
with
Darn
come
that
it.
number
Good.
one
on.
pick.
Yep.
I
Darn it.
mean,
7 Cy Young awards. Roger
it's a
So
record,
Clemens.
man.
Chase, you're up. We each get four
Well,
each.
Jackson, I had to be honest with you, man. I had my list ready, in the order that I wanted, and you kind of just threw off my list. But I'm just
There
going
was
to keep.
no way you thought you were going to get Greg
No,
Maddux and Roger Clemens.
no.
There's no way.
Well, no. I know. I was in terms of like, just like I had like a little stack of like exact rotation I wanted, but I had a couple backup plans. And my next backup plan, I think, though he was on a team that didn't give him much run support, you gotta go Jacob deGrom with one of the lowest Cy Young ERAs I've ever seen, especially in recent history. And his strike to walk ratio was like unreal.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the man who won it the year after him in the American League. I'm going to go Justin Verlander's 2019 season.
All right. If we're gonna go ahead and go that era, I got my next guy. I'm gonna go Max Scherzer.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to have to also say, I guess Cy Young never won the award. And so that was,
Well, but he's
a
named after
19
him.
But
So.
you know what? Honorary. He would have if it would have existed.
If
That's
it
true.
would exist. So I feel like that's the ultimate number one pick.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
him getting the award named after him is kind of like, ensuing that he would have won it had it been around. So
Right.
it counts.
Yeah,
It counts.
that's good baseball trivia. I'm going to say that. Like, he never won the award. It was
Right.
like 1950s. It looks like it started. So he died the year before it was
Fair
starting.
question.
So,
Rest
yeah.
in peace.
So I'm going to go with I got to stick with my relievers. Dennis Eckersley, 1992. He had sub 2 ERA, one of the ones that won a Cy Young. Like that's awesome. And then if I think I have another pick, I'm going to go with my guy Jake Arrieta. I think 2015, he had like a 1.7 ERA.
I love that
One of the
pick.
best.
I actually have a very high debate on that. I don't think Jake Arrieta should have won that season. I genuinely think it should have gone to Zach Greinke.
Well,
Yeah.
That's
But
one of
Jake
the
Arrieta, like that was like I said, man, he was really a part of that resurgence for the Cubs, like to get that World Series in 2016. So, I'm gonna give him respect to get the Cy Young Award. But
yeah, he
my
is
next
great.
pick, I'm gonna go ahead and go on the Dodgers side. Mr. Dodgers legend Sandy Koufax.
okay. And since y'all mentioned his name like not even 30 seconds ago, but I am going to take Zach Greinke. I thought he'd be off the board by now, but I'm happy that he's not. And I think he beat out Felix Hernandez that year, if I'm not mistaken, which to me, that's really impressive. And Zach Greinke, I saw a stat a couple of days ago. He didn't give up an earned run that season until like his 5th or 6th start, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, Zach Greinke, welcome to my team.
I hate to do this as a Braves fan, but I'm gonna have to go with another Met. Well, in my opinion, or never mind, I'm not gonna say that. I'll say that later. But Dwight Gooden, one of the best pitchers in the '80s, especially what he did, like coming out like the age of 20, instantly had like I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he had like 6 shutout games. That's in the 1986, I think, was a year with like double-digit strikeouts, maintained a 150 average in that era. I think it's just unreal. Dwight Gooden is my next pick.
Can't hate it.
With my next pick, I'm going to take Philadelphia Phillies legend. My dad grew up in Philly, big fan. This guy, Steve Carlton.
Good
Give me
pick.
Steve Carlton for my third, and for my final pick, my number 4 pick. Give me. Ooh, this is really really tough. Nobody has taken Kershaw yet, have they?
No.
Not yet.
I'll take Kershaw.
How did I forget about Clayton Kershaw?
I need
That's
a
crazy.
modern era guy. So give me Clayton Kershaw.
I'm gonna go with back in 2017 when Chris Sale won the Cy Young. I think there was one guy that also could have won it, and one of my favorite pitchers during that era was Corey Kluber. Man, after the All-Star break. Oh, actually, I think it was like his last 15 starts had like a unbelievable ERA. I want to say it was like a 150, 160, multiple shutout wins that year. So I love Corey Kluber. He's my next pick.
Okay, I'm going to take, I think one of the most underrated Cy Young winners of all time. Mr. Santana from the Minnesota Twins in the early 2000s.
Yohan Santana.
You go look at that season. It is ridiculous. It was his first full season ever pitching in the major leagues. In his first 2 starts, he gave up like, I don't know, a handful of runs in his first 2 starts, and then had like 20 4 earned. I don't know. I can't
Hey,
remember the exact stuff. He had like a 136 ERA throughout the entire rest of the season and absolutely tore it up. So
I do want to make
All
a
right.
correct. I do want to make a correction. Corey Kluber, I messed up. He did win in 2017. I said it was Chris Sale. It was Corey Kluber in 2017. But I also forgot to mention, Corey Kluber came off the IL that year, by the
he
way, and
did.
still won Cy
Yeah.
Young. And that was
Mm.
insane. I completely forgot that happened.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and my Braves bias is gonna show here because already one Braves legend in the '90s who Greg Maddux was obviously that front man in that rotation, but there was another guy in that rotation that won two in that decade. I'm going Mr. Tom Glavine.
Yeah.
Good
Mm.
pick.
Good pick.
There we go. There
Yeah,
we go.
I get in this, I guess. So there would be two for me. Fernando Valenzuela won it when he was a rookie. He also won Rookie of the Year, so I think that's a special one. But I have to go with Verlander. I don't think he's been taken yet.
At
Has
Verlander,
he?
I think I took Verlander.
Oh, you did. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
all good.
I like the MVP seasons. If he won an MVP and a Cy Young, I think you did a lot of good. So I'll go Fernando. You win multiple awards. I think that shows you have a pretty good season.
Absolutely.
Actually, Andrew took Verlander. My bad. I took Scherzer.
Yes. Yeah. I did take Verlander. That's right. I
So
forgot.
now,
Second pick.
before we end this episode, running through our teams, Mr. Winkler, who is your four?
Oh, I went Arrieta, Fernando Valenzuela, Dennis Eckersley, and I guess cheating with Cy Young, who never won the award.
We'll count it. Don't worry.
Steven?
All right, so I had Pedro Martinez, I had Max Scherzer, I had Sandy Koufax, and I had Tom Glavine.
I had Randy Johnson, Justin Verlander, Zach Greinke, and Santana from the Twins.
I had Greg Maddux, Jacob DeGrom, Corey Kluber. Ooh, wow, who's my other pick? Y'all remember? I forgot who my other pick was. Oh, Dwight Gooden. That was the other man. Dwight Gooden, yeah.
Yeah.
Dwight Gooden, and I had Bob Gibson, Kershaw, Clemens, and Steve Carlton. But before we end this episode, Mr. Winkler, thank you so much again for taking time out of your day to come back on another episode. It was amazing to have you. With this graphic for the episode, and this episode will be out around 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. So if y'all are watching this, make sure to go check that out on the YouTube. Also, make sure to go follow us on Instagram as well. We are so close to 600 followers. I also would like to shout out my own personal baseball page, JD Baseball Show. Just hit 100 followers today personally. So I'd like to give a little self shout out. But Mr. Winkler, any words for the viewers and the fans before we head off and go?
Nah, listen in. These guys are great. They've been kind to me the last couple of times I've done this. I have some good takes. So yeah, any way I can help, I appreciate y'all having me on. But yeah, let me know.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
Always
it.
an honor. Always an honor having you on.
And also stay tuned later this week. We're going to have another former Atlanta Braves pitcher, Mr. Sam Freeman, on for a interview. And then late on JD Baseball Show, we're going to have 2014 MLB All-Star Brandon Moss on for an interview. So stay tuned for that. But again, Mr. Winkler, Steven, Andrew, Chase, and myself, we will see y'all next time.